Well, let's get started. We're running late. I have nothing to talk about tonight. I am so fucking brain dead. So
But the king went to England.
the king went to England? What?
America.
Is he? Did he go to? Did he really? Is that
Yeah,
where
he's a,
that came from?
yeah.
Yeah, he arrived on Monday because they had the big hoo-ha at the big hoo-ha, the red flag, the false flag event on Saturday night at the correspondence
Okay.
dinner.
Pause. Let's pause. Yeah.
Intro.
Intro. Welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion. Apparently, King Charles is in America. I didn't know. Like that tells you the kind of week I've had. I've had a bad fucking week, so I'm really not with what's going on. So apparently, King Chuck is in America right now. Now I saw a little clip where I guess Trump was trying to make it out about how, as Trump does, like how America's the greatest, America's the best. And if it wasn't for America, England would be speaking German right now. Yeah, because that's how that worked.
Well,
And then,
Jimmy might.
hold on, and then King Charles turned around and said, lest we forget, if it wasn't for England, you'd all be speaking French right now. And I laughed. I was like, apparently no one has taught Trump about the War of 1812. It's that little American thing that Americans don't like to talk about what Canada did to fucking America. But they've never had a war. They've never lost a war. Yeah, except the one in 1812 where we burnt your entire city to the ground, including your treasury.
The comment that Charles came out with was, "It's looking a lot better than when we finished with it in 1812."
I'm sorry, but like,
Except
you have those points where you just have to be like, Americans just don't like that. And when the Canadians remind them, that we decimated you in 1812.
well,
Like,
it's the way he brought it in. D is he said, "I like what you're doing with the West Wing." The last time we hear it wasn't like that in 1812 because they blew the fucking White House up. So King Charles pulled a Trump, the Japanese. Trump did his smarty pants on the Japanese.
Yep.
King Charles got Trump back.
Nice.
But you should have seen the regalia, D. Like, it was pretty impressive. He had all the old English, like all the old English suits with the fucking Union Jack out, all on full regalia out in the White House. It was interesting.
Well, I will go look up the videos. Like I said, I've been in my own little la la land this week. For some reason, I had it in my head that Charles was going to America in June or July. I didn't realize it was this early. So, yeah, okay, well, I will go look up the videos. I'm definitely for the historical value in costuming and all that symbolism. I want to see what was done. Oh, too much funniness. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, you just sit there and go, like, I don't even know what to say about all the shit that's going on right now in the world. I've just literally turned around and just kind of been like, oh man, all that shit over there, you just stay over there. Just stay over there. I don't want to talk about it. Um, yes, Ben.
I was just going to say, actually, one interesting thing, which might not actually be that interesting, but I think it is they specifically ate honey from the White House beehives. I thought that was quite interesting.
Obama brought them in during his term, and the Trumps have commissioned 2 new ones to go along with the existing ones. But they're actually the scale models of the White House basically look pretty cool.
Well, I will go look at the White House beehives then, because at least that's interesting. Because nothing else about the White House. Even
Oh, yeah, there's all Jimmy's pictures.
yeah, I'm looking at Jimmy's dropping pictures in left, right, and center here, so I can take a look and see.
That would have been
Yes.
the perfect moment for Iran to bomb the White House. That would have.
This is
Oh,
the
they're waiting for the
public
World
show,
Cup, then.
Ben.
Or for the aliens to
Ben.
appear.
They're waiting for the World Cup in the summer, then they're going to destroy
Public show,
everybody.
guys. Public show. Come on, all of you. Just hold on a little bit. I just think it's really, really funny that, again, like, the straight up transparency of all the bullshit that's going on right now with Trump, like, oh, they won the war against Iran. Apparently, they won the war, and they haven't. Like, the straits are still closed. Everything is still closed down. Iran has told America, like, fuck right off. But people who are playing, the nations who are playing by Iran's game, are getting through the straits, no problem. No problem whatsoever. Go ahead, Nadia.
How many times does Trump need to win the same war?
I don't know. Apparently every 24 hours. But I'm not sure if it's like on a daily thing, like 24 hours, or if it's just 7 times a week.
Because, like,
Maybe
I
you can
don't
do it
play
5 times in
3D
one
chess or
day,
5D
but
chess.
no more than 7 times in a week can he win.
Yeah, I thought when you win a war, that's it. Or
Yeah.
you lose a war, that's it. That's done with that war. And then you move on to the next war. But
Well,
he's won the same war multiple times.
the many wars are of the one. They created the multiple wars to rule all the wars.
Oh, so it's getting metaphysical.
One war to rule them all. Oh, that's what we have going on.
The Lebanon's getting fucked up. They've been doing some massive bombs on the Houthis. Like, they've been doing, like, back in the mountains, some really, really big bombs. Like,
really?
Big.
It's still going on, eh?
They're taking out the tunnels now, they're saying, for the Houthis. Like, these explosions were bigger than the B-52 bunker busters that went through in Iran earlier this year. These were huge, like taking sides of mountains out.
So, the war, the so-called war. Oh, Mr. McKinney is joining us.
That might be what the remote viewers picked up on this month. Because they said there's like a new weapon never been seen before. So it might be that.
Is that it? Yeah, but it's still a conventional bomb.
What is it? Yeah, it was still a rocket. The description they gave is kind of like a rocket thing, but it's a new type of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's funny that Trump has to win the war, and he's won the war. We've won. I've got one right here. There's another one. Look. I want you to burn yourself. Oh, I'll try not to burn myself, but no guarantees. Yeah, and I don't understand, like, it just goes on, and I don't understand how Americans are still falling for it. Like, anyone who is actually falling for it. And there are people who are really, really fucking stupid who are still trusting his plan.
They get paid $7,000 a post, though.
No, they don't. That's why they
right.
That's why they're pissed off, because they're not getting paid their $7,000 a post. That's the problem. So because you guys have been paying more attention to this whole thing, King Charles is in America right now.
Yeah, I know, he's talking shit too.
I know. I heard we just had a whole conversation about him dropping the whole War of 1812 shit, all the rest of it.
Yeah. Because I was just looking at that little quote from him going, tee hee. On this occasion, I cannot help noticing the readjustments to the East Wing. We made our own small attempt at real estate redevelopment of the White House in 1814.
Nice. So I'm wondering, like, I find it interesting timing, because, like I said, I thought King Charles was going there in like June or July. So when you have this whole Falklands thing come up, and America sent the Nimitz, down to the Falkland Island to support Argentina's claim, which they have none. Argentina has no claim to the Falkland Islands. Like, go pick up a history book, people. Literally. Someone needs to teach Trump some history. Just a little bit. Tiny bit. And that's all happening while King Charles is visiting Washington. I wonder what.
So a little bit of shit talking from King Charles was unexpected, and I'm like, hey, you go, buddy, you go.
The old man still got a little bit of
Yeah,
something, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems timing wise. Timing is always suspect to me. Like all these timing things that, the Falkland shit starts kicking off. Just so happens to be kicking off when King Charles is in America. Anyone else find that suspicious? Suspicious timing.
Don't you find it weirder that a royal is flying during war times?
Well, did he come on a
That
secret
there's
jet? Like how did he arrive? I don't know.
beat me up, Scotty.
Yeah, well, he
Well,
just
Is it
called the
really
mother.
election though, Ben? They still got like 2 days where it's
That-
still fucking
Trump is
special operation, so
Trump
it's not
out.
really war yet.
Trump, yeah. He's got 2 more days while it's still special
no,
operation.
100% hear you. More so, space. How do you get to the UK by plane?
Yeah, he took us. They put him on a submarine and brought him over that way.
Just went around the other way.
Yeah.
They went left
Hyperlink
instead
tunnel
of
underneath
right.
the fucking ocean that was like an hour's trip.
Yeah.
Well, look, I can't help, and I know that might be like a real poo-pooed idea, but I really can't help but fucking think that these guys really are just doing an insurance job. Like they're just getting rid of all the old stuff because some of the I don't know if you guys have been I don't know how, but I've been getting heaps of Anundrel ads start popping up on my feed
What
of
kind
all
of
their
ads?
new Anundrel. So
I don't know what that is.
Parker Lucky, the young fucking genius dude with the funny hair who always wears Hawaiian shirts, who started off in AI and digital and is now making weapons, artificial intelligence weapons. He's designing them so that all of the American factories that exist to date, still in America, are able to produce each one of these items. So they have unmanned torpedoes that go at 200 miles an hour in the water. And they have these new jets that are like those Iranian kind of drones. They look like the stealth bombers.
Yeah,
So they're in full production of those, and it's now being advertised on fucking Facebook.
They're advertising it on Facebook. Okay.
I'll see if I
They're
can find the
available
ad.
to whoever can afford them?
I'll see if I can find the ad. Well, no, it's more so, Trump's announced he's tried to make some of these car companies in the States start making weapons, yeah?
Yeah.
Like there's been, so he's got, and then they're going to be making these weapons. They're not going to be making particulars. They're going to be making Anundrel stuff. So
I mean, drones are the future of warfare for the immediate future anyway.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, Nick, is why wouldn't you just get rid of all your other shit? Like you don't even need fucking people.
Nope.
You actually do not, like, from henceforth, we no longer need people in wars. Like, actually, we don't.
Except to do the dying, yes. The Storm Normandy, yeah.
No. It'll be civilian infrastructure that gets attacked and bombed. It'll be civilians that pay the price. It'll be fucking cities.
Yeah. And Nadia, anyone would think there's a war on. No, the war. The one that Trump won twice last week.
Not a war yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're still calling it a police action, are we?
Special operation.
A special operation. Oh, I'm sorry. We're still calling it a special. What is it? 2 more days? 3 more days?
Short bus operation run by Trump.
The short bus operation run by Trump. Yeah. Collective punishment, Jimmy? Yeah, okay, collective punishment. But unfortunately, like, collective means all of us. Because right now the whole world's getting punished over this fucking bullshit. Yeah. So, interesting. We've got a little segue here. We've talked about this a lot in the last, 80 days now since this bullshit started with Iran? Whatever, however many days, 2 months, whatever, 3 months, I don't know. Technology and the changes. And we've Nick and I have tossed a lot of thoughts about this. We've talked about it with the members chat. Ben, you and I have gone off on this. New technology, right? So if they all of a sudden use this war as the excuse to show off, bring out new technology, and I don't necessarily mean armaments. I'm talking about things like, for example, okay, the Gulfs of the oil's not flowing. No one has any oil. Well, we've got to do something. Well, we need another way to run cars, another way to heat houses, another way to produce X, Y, and Z.
Trump's on the fucking the horn laying the foundation for that right now, by the way.
Okay, so what? Okay, Justin, President Trump confirms his administration will be declassifying and releasing UFO files imminently. Right, they will. They said they saw things you wouldn't believe, and you're going to be reading about it.
This is Trump's quotes.
We're going to be releasing a lot of things from what we have, and I think some of it's going to be very interesting to people.
Laying the foundation for that right now.
Well, listen, we all know that. Like, God knows, we all follow. We've all been following that cold fucking trail for decades, right? But the thing that struck me, so we were listening to a video and someone was an American person was talking about fertilizers. Don't you understand that there's going to be food shortages in 2027 because there's no fertilizers because you can't, and he honestly said, straight face, dead face, we can't produce foods without these fertilizers. It's like, yeah, you can. Oh, well, you can't produce enough of it. You can't, like, with the yield that they have now. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You just have to actually relearn what soil is, relearn how to grow things from natural electroculture. That like the soil food, soil essences that we can make. Like Ben, you and I have talked about for years. Simple to make. We're not talking horribly difficult to make with costs of so much money to make. No, it's dirt fucking cheap. Making soil essences. Go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to say some German scientists apparently recently have just announced that they've discovered how to make terra preta.
I saw that article.
Oh, really? Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, we were right. It's our recipe, D. Like, actually, it's quite funny.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Funny how. Yeah. Anyways, I will save that comment for the members chat. Certain things happen when we have desperate situations happen. Sometimes we have silver linings that come out of those bullshit. Things like COVID, the whole thing with the lockdowns, etc. There were some silver linings that came out of that, and so besides the fact of like people waking up and smelling the coffee suddenly. People who were not awake, right? They were able to all of a sudden start researching for themselves. I've got a cold. I can't go to the doctor. What can I do to help myself with my cold? And there's a lot of people who that kind of opened the door to a lot of natural and holistic. I won't even go so far as say treatments, but let's say natural and holistic supplementation to help and assist your health. People, things with the education, people who swore they would never do home education after being forced into it were like, this is the fucking cat's ass. Kids are like, I ain't going back to school. Parents are like, no, we're not fucking sending you. One of the things I'm wondering we're going to see out of this fucking bullshit war is the fact that people are going to be forced to do something. Farmers are going to need to come up with fertilizer. Gee, I don't know. Maybe they should go look in Grandpa's diary, who didn't use any chemical fertilizers. He just shoveled all the horse shit and made fertilizers and composted and did things the way it's been done for a millennia and never failed. Things like where all of a sudden you have, for example, these genetically modified breeds of seeds that are really, these Monsanto seeds have to be grown with Monsanto chemicals. Well, if all of a sudden you can't get the Monsanto chemicals, people are going to start having to revert back to using actual natural seed. If you're using natural fertilizers, natural pesticides. So it's going to be, I think it's interesting that a door could be opening through this. How stubborn are the people going to be to refuse to walk through it? Or how willing are the people going to be to walk through the door? I don't know. It will be interesting. It'll be interesting. So,
one of the problems with the farmland that has been under cultivation with the Monsanto stuff
I know.
is that it remains infertile to traditional methods for multiple growing seasons.
Yep.
So that's going to be a source of issue.
But and this is
father would
absolutely.
say.
But here's the thing. We know that. And us who are unfuckers who research this shit know that. But when all of a sudden it starts coming out,
Yeah, it's not
publicly,
it's not the fertilizers, it's the seeds and the fucking pesticides.
It's all that shit when you realize that because of these corporations, because of all these shitty, when you have in America, when you have the FDA, which is supposed to be protecting American health, allowing glyphosates and all this shit to be used, knowing full well that it would destroy the soil
and the aquifers
and everything, then all of a sudden there's another level of wake up point there. We all get it. We all get that they're all fucking as corrupt as can be, and money buys everything, health buys nothing. So we get it. But all of a sudden, I think that we're going to start seeing like this trickle-down effect over the last year. The trickle-down effect into the mainstream normie world of how corrupt shit is.
Well, modern farming is a kind of a like a three-legged stool of garbage right now,
Yeah,
right? You've got the fucking fertilizers that they're using, the ammonia fertilizers that they're using. You've got the Monsanto seeds that they've cornered the markets on that are Franken seeds that do funny things to soils and
humans.
Don't propagate themselves. You have to rebuy them. And then you've got the fucking pesticides that they're using, right? So everybody is concentrating on the fertilizer, saying this is the one leg on this stool that is going to fall and fucking it's going to ruin everything else. Yes,
but there's three other legs that are just as wobbly right now.
You've got that. So in the south of Spain, there's a massive kind of attention being put on that area in the south of Spain, Almeria, I think it is, where they've got all the fucking greenhouses, and it's like 58,000 kilometers or something like that squared of fucking greenhouses in that area. It's ridiculous. Insane. You can see it from space, in fact. That's how big the greenhouse area that they've got in Spain is. They use single-use polyplastic to create greenhouses to be the fruit and vegetable basket of all of Europe and the UK. So, like, you get grapes and fucking broccoli and shit like that in December, right? The greenhouses, the plastics that they're using, they fucking break down in the sunlight and the rain, and they wash into the ocean. So that's just leaching fucking
and into the
tons,
soil.
literally tons of microplastics every year into the fucking local ecosystem. The shit that they're using in those greenhouses to water those plants, the poison that they're using, they have literally poisoned the local aquifer. Fucking poisoned it so bad that they can't even use that water to feed the plants there anymore.
Yep.
They're trucking water in from outside to feed the fucking plants that they're growing in those greenhouses, because the shit that they're using on the plants in those greenhouses has literally fucking poisoned the groundwater to the point where it would poison the plants.
Yep. It's insane. It is literally insane. But it's just another facet that a light is being shone on, another facet of the
Jimmy's photo of it there.
Yeah, the picture.
We've driven through it, to be fair. We've actually seen
it
in real life.
Literally driven through it.
It is
insane. Pyrolysis would sort that out. Yeah, that's a lot of pyrolysis, though, Ben. And since we
It's
can't see,
microplastics that are coming off it, right? Like they just keep wrapping a new
Yeah,
layer on the fucking old layers.
and the thing is, it's the same with like large portions of Thailand, Malaysia, Bali. Like it's actually because the plastic's the thing that doesn't break down, right? And so everything else they can burn. And it's the one thing that if they're not burning, it's the one thing that gets out is
yeah,
the plastics. But the reason I bring it up, Nick, is more so that if those were the things that were an option, you'd know that they'd just pull it down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's that thing. And like right now, because we're trying to do up a program and we were trying to fucking figure out how to base it on energy, right? But then when you start talking to the Australian government, they'll only offer you 15 cents a kilowatt hour,
yep.
which makes it not even worth like doing. But then you're
Unless
like,
you're
oh, hang
producing a
on.
lot.
Yeah, on massive scale, but even then, it's like the amount. Like if you're doing it pyrolysis, it's that exponential growth. It's like if it's going to be this big, then you need 10 times that to hold the amount of waste to keep it running.
Yeah, but
But this
electricity can be a fucking like a side effect of the pyrolysis itself, right?
That's what he's
that's the
saying.
way we're looking at it. Yeah, that's why. And
So
then microgridding it.
15 cents a kilowatt hour as a side effect. You might as well take it.
Well, if your waste facility is fully electrically automated, then it has a no cost value. And if it's depleting the waste, so it runs itself, right?
Yeah.
And then the exponential benefits that feed out. So I don't know. I think it might be similar in England, but generally you have like one big waste facility or a few big waste facilities somewhere, and then you've got all like your little county and
Yeah.
township sort of waste, and then that gets accumulated, and then that goes on trucks, and then that goes somewhere to get processed. And the same thing happens here, right? And it all ends up shipped, or dumped in that fucking down in that that old creek there that you guys have that apparently
Yeah,
turned
the
into
whole
a
creek.
I
that's
could
milled.
literally do a massive fucking about all this bullshit, but I'm not going to right now. Go ahead.
Well, no, because this is literally why we're trying to figure it out, right? We attached it to crypto because when crypto was huge, because I don't know how much bit miners are now, because bit miners were based off of the cost of Bitcoin, and now that Bitcoin's hundreds of thousands of miners can't be hundreds of thousands of dollars. But yeah, the idea, Nick, was to actually start saving on all the other things.
Well,
because the
waste is valuable,
infrastructure
right?
itself, yeah.
So
yeah.
right now,
well,
Exactly.
taking
what you're talking
care
about,
of waste.
they have council
is-
collection centers, right? And they have separation bins. So you put your different things in different skips, and they go to ostensibly different places. Most of it
Ostensibly.
winds up in the fucking landfill. There's a
Yeah.
massive landfill not far from here.
all of it.
Well, some of it.
Let's say
Most of it.
now that
80% of it.
now that China's not taking it,
Yeah.
So they've got in the landfills, they run these massive fucking pipes down into the ground. They're perforated vent pipes. And what do they vent? Methane. Did you know that out of between ammonia, water, and methane, methane is the easiest to fucking electrolyze?
Yep.
To get pure hydrogen out of it. And you get fucking carbon out of it after too. So or sulfur, sorry. But there's a fucking massive industry to be made just collecting methane at landfills and then using it in an electrolysis setup to separate it out for hydrogen fuels.
But they're not going to. Because they don't want to. They don't want to fix the garbage problem. They don't want to fix the recycling problem. They don't want to do any of those things. They don't want anything that's going to actually lower energy costs. They don't want to do anything that's going to lower taxation. No, that's not. And so they will never do those things. They won't bring them in. As much as it's completely logical, and anyone with a brain cell goes, well, A plus B equals C, so therefore, let's do it.
Then use your pyrolysis machine to make steam. Do it. Do it.
Oh, it would do all of it. The thing is each step, right? So you can lower your temperatures and produce avgas.
Yeah.
So aviation fuel, and like really clean stuff, especially if you're just going through the plastic. You make really, really nice stuff. But it's each step, Nick, makes a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger site. And it's that part where you're like, oh.
Yeah, but you can't just fucking expect
You
to
mean you
be
become
like
visible?
you have to take the steps in
No,
between.
no, it becomes bigger, Nadia. Like the fucking cogs and the wheels, the applications, the process, the SOPs. It just becomes so exponentially
Yes,
huge.
I know,
Because
Ben.
if you think it's so,
Yep.
if it's electricity you're after, then it's infrastructure. And even though they have like all the lines there, to then start getting into gigawatts and megawatts, you're looking at like substations, and substations are like, that costs so
Unless you just
fucking
link into the
much.
existing infrastructure, some high tensile
Well,
lines to the fucking closest.
but that's the problem. See, this is from my understanding, and like this is like when we were building AHI in the States, Nick. They brought in a substation on the back of two trucks because of the power. Because even though we had all the main lines, we were on state highway, whatever the fuck it was in Sydney, right? It was like fucking one of the main things, but they couldn't supply us the power. So they bought these two substations in on the back of trucks and then hooked in so that it could do whatever conversions so that then the fucking plant could run. It was just like, what? What do you mean we took? What the fuck?
Here's my
And then
recommendation for you, Ben.
Watching them build the boards out for
Do you
all
have-
of the appliances.
Do you
Go
have
on.
a small pyrolysis machine working?
No.
Oh.
Not one that does all the things that it needs to do and fits in. We're looking at how to buy it.
Because you've seen the dude that used one to make fucking plastics into gasoline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're saying
use it
you
for
can
avgas.
use one, you can set it up to run it to make an avgas, right?
Yep.
Okay, well,
Go
if
to
you
the
just did that
airlines.
on a small scale and made people aware that you can do that on a small scale, the rest will come. It'll pay for itself, man. People will be like, here, have some fucking cash.
It's the biofuels, yeah, in a normal place, not here in the here in the hills.
From
Everyone
last I
wants
heard,
it for
Australia
fucking
is one of the
free.
places that's having a hard time with fucking aviation fuel.
Yeah, we don't live in Australia. We live in Nimbin, remember?
Well, it sounds like
it's a little bit lower.
Yeah.
that just means you can get away
But
with
yeah,
it.
you know, like we've got the biodiesel setups, we've got the Joe bits and pieces. We do have multiple different pyrolysis combustion chambers and units, but none that are set up to run generators. Found a company in China that fucking just builds whole cities out of them. So we want to get a small 120 kilowatt because the idea is to get the small unit here and then run the actual emissions tests ourselves so that we then own the emission tests based on Australian standards and then figure out whether it meets it or not. Because they already meet the EU standards, and the EU standards are some of the highest in the world, but we live in Australia. So it's that thing of having to get it Australian certified. They don't give a fuck about the rest of the shit. It's like, but is it? So
funny story about pyrolysis machines, Ben. You can use them for a bunch of different things. The one that Danny's dad was working with, which I had the plans for, and
we still have all the blueprints.
They were using it to clean. They were using it to run fucking tires. Like you could chip tires and fucking run it through there. You could go to a paper recycling pond and recycle all and
clean all
run that
flues.
waste through a pyrolysis machine and clean up the fucking paper recycling non-trivial problem that they've got going on with where they do the recycling for paper. You can take them and you can one of the products that comes out of it, like if you're using it to clean things, you get biochar.
Yep.
Fun thing about that biochar is you can use it in filters. So running the pyrolysis machine, one of the outputs of the thing you can actually use in your air scrubbers.
And this is where that next phase goes, right? So the reason we were talking about the microgrids is because you get the right pyrolysis, and you're correct. So you do bio wastes, so things that are, of a biological basis, and you get charcoal. You do the other side of things, such as your plastics and your, what would you call it, petro products,
petrochemical stuff,
and you get ash.
Yeah.
And that ash, if you test it correctly, what you'll find is it's a fertilizer. And it will have nitrogen and all the other trace elements that are left. Because
so in other words,
that's why it's the ash.
This is yet another, as I've been saying, because of course, my dad working in the industry for 25 years. It is another example that shines a spotlight on the fact that the government, the corporatocracy, etc., they don't want to clean the waste. They don't want clean energy. They don't want something that actually makes sense. They don't want something to clean the sluice pond. They don't want anything to do all these things. Because unless they can literally make money off of it themselves, unless they can figure out a way to line their own pockets, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you can offer all these things that you, like I said, I've talked about this on shows before. My dad has talked to many heads of state, many heads of state,
heads of industry as well,
who told him that, like, between his first meeting with him and his second meeting with him, they got a phone call saying, no, you will not. And then turn around and be like, yeah, no, we're not allowed. We can't.
Well,
and those phone calls all came from America, by the way. I just thought I'd drop that in there.
That's been mostly our experience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But see, the thing is I 100% agree with what you just said. But at the same time, I think they do want it cleaned up. They just don't want us doing it.
Oh, exactly.
So they want to be able to absolutely, and that's what we're seeing is the great international audit, and they are literally trying to figure out, I guess, for lack of better terminology, is like some form of a real-time cost, and that's what it'll come down to, and that's where the new economy is going to be based, and it will be energy.
But go back a step with what you just said. And it is, they don't want us, we the people, the plebs, they don't want us coming up with this. They don't want us fixing the problem. They don't want us benefiting, oh my God, by making a buck or two by fixing the problem. It is always about what they can do, and it doesn't matter. And it's like, I was saying this to Nick, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. Every single thing that has come out that has had the slightest opportunity of the common person to benefit financially from it, cryptocurrency being a really the most, let's say, the most recent example of this, they will cut their own leg off before moving forward with it if it means that the common people, the plebs, the serfs, if they in any way, shape, or form will benefit from it financially, they will cut their own leg off before they'll go ahead with it. They will completely change their entire routing, if you will, of how they're going to do finances, etc. If the common people are going to benefit from whatever's rolling out, nope, it's gone. Nope, that's then. Nope, forget it. It's over.
Danny, it might be that, or it might be that they genuinely don't give a shit about the common person. It's about a systemic thing.
Okay, define that. Like, what do you mean by systemic in what way?
This is just a hypothesis. If the if the intel around this place being a loosh farm, let's go with that as a premise. If this place is a loosh farm, then all of this infrastructure, this corporate infrastructure, could be to account for the loosh. So, the system needs to have integrity for the accounting to work properly. Okay, so that's why they can't have individuals doing whatever it is that they want. It's not that they give a shit about us or what benefits us or what
Maybe.
doesn't.
And that could be a factor at the very, very highest of levels. Because that's not political, right? Like the levels you're talking about, this isn't political.
No. I'm talking about at
the very upper end of things. Yeah, it absolutely could play into it. But it just seems to me that like literally over and over and over again, anytime something comes up that could be a financial windfall, could be.
The thing is that the solutions we're talking about, Dee, have real life return on investments. A speculated one.
Yeah.
Well, but with a real time return on investment, it goes old school. So remember, we all used to be farmers, and someone needed a bridge built, so someone put forward some fucking bills of exchange for the energy and time put in for those people that built the bridge because they were off their farm. So that was the trade, and they used that bill of exchange to either hire other people or do something else to make their shortfall not being on the farm a thing. And then once everything was done, the bill of exchange was extinguished because it was dealt with. What we now have is these fucking non-promissory notes that are not to pay for anything, that are literally like the stock market is speculative. Yep. We know that the value of the company is not based on its productivity and output. That's not what it's based on. So the minute that you get a problem solving or a problem solving solution, that something like pyrolysis, which, as we said, it takes care of waste, it produces power, and then all these other things, right? So it has exponential growth to exponential cost. So what happens is it writes off their money system, and because it's got no value now. So what they're having to do is do this massive international stock take and audit, and what they're trying to figure out is what a thing's value is based on its energy input. And that's what a token is.
And I get that, Ben. I get that. My comment isn't in the nitty-gritty, right? It is in just a basic comment on if we stand to gain, they will shut it down.
Yep.
100% of the time.
If you stand to gain in a manner that is at odds with their system, and they want that system to be all pervasive, that is what is dangerous for you. Yep. So I suppose the trick is, the game is, if you think in gamifying terms, is that you figure out how to manage what outputs you want in a manner that is not at odds with the infrastructure that they want to put in. I don't know. All I'm suggesting is just a different perspective on looking at the same thing, because they might not really hate us. They might just not think of us in the same way that we don't think of the ants in our garden or whatever. They just don't give a shit. That they give a shit about.
They give a shit about the tax money we generate for them. That's what they give a shit about.
I don't know. It's just I'm tending towards this kind of perspective at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand what Ben's been talking about, which is difficult. But you know, where Ben, you talk about the token representing energy, I'm thinking of it in terms of probably representing Loosh as a proxy for it
So
to
I
track
think, yeah,
the
yeah,
generation and
Tomato,
flow
tomato.
of that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I would say 100%. So
as a
Lucius was
product.
the MK Ultra part. Like we're now like this is I think this is why the rush is happening, is because people are waking up and being like, huh? Hang on a second, this isn't making fucking sense in
I
any way,
don't
shape, or form.
understand.
So then what happens is so if they automate everything and then they have their digital stuff, then the aspect of the interaction is all based on that. So the energy that it took to make a toothbrush is what a toothbrush will be worth.
Except it's not, I suppose, is it potato? Because I think the generators are us, and it's the emotional output. Because you know how the
We
markets
hundred we
track
hundred
the
yeah, yeah.
emotional
Yeah, but
outputs.
again,
We're probably
like
talking different opposite ends of the same thing, maybe.
and this is the thing, exactly.
Next,
At the high, at the
I'm saying
upper
next
level,
phase.
Nadia, absolutely. I'm not talking. I'm talking in the here and now. Your
How it affects
councillors,
you.
your local politicians, your local
Oh,
heads of
they have no clue.
corporations.
They have no
No,
clue.
and that's what I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the abject reality at its finite. I'm talking about what we see in front of us daily, every day, which is becoming massively transparent right now. Massively transparent. It's all these lies that we're told. And so much is getting poured out into the mainstream at the moment that highlights this stuff, is showing it like a spotlight on it. That even the normies, even the muggles are getting to the point where you can't really hide this shit anymore. The abject corruption, the abject fraud, the abject stupidity, ludicrousness of how things are run is just it's like I say, it's being really really highlighted to a lot of people now in a way that I think that has never really been done before. And I want to say, like, in this last year and a half, just in the recent, the amount of shit that has come out publicly that is newsworthy, like social media publicly, coming out in common conversations.
Great noticing.
The great noticing. I like that terminology a lot. I gotta fix the camera again. There we go. Yeah, the great noticing. People are noticing. People are absolutely noticing now. How do you hide it? It's right in your face. I don't know. It's fucking insanity. Like I just, whoa. There's so
It's
many aspects of so many things every day.
And it's because we're in that transition period from the old infrastructure to the new infrastructure, and what we're experiencing on a daily basis is that it's not working. So the topic of conversation before the show started, for example, Danny, is a perfectly horrible example of it not working. And so, and that in and of itself generates so much leash, right? All of these extreme emotions of frustration and being pissed off and all of that.
Although,
Yeah.
like I said, I've always joked in our house, we've joked about it. Monsters Inc. The answers to a lot of those problems are Monsters Inc. I think you would find out that happiness and hope and joy generate far more energy than sadness and despair and anger. But the difference is people who are joyful and happy, content, are very difficult to control. People who are angry and sad and despair are far easier to control and keep them in that state.
Because their brains aren't functioning.
Because their brains aren't functioning.
Yeah. I would
People
argue
who
right
are
now,
happy are just doing their own thing.
On that notion, the degeneracy that has been built into the last few generations of our species, the young, the stuff that they've been exposed to on the internet, the absolute fucking unfiltered
degeneracy
atrocities that are just daily, I think that the damage is already done. I don't think that we could be unfettered like that.
But another aspect, because I was using Robert Monroe's term in his book, it does seem that they do realize the farmer. I mean, right at the top, as you were speaking about, above the human level, far, far above the human level, has become aware through eons of experimentation on this planet that those elevated emotional states are more generative of a higher grade of this stuff that they need to harvest.
Yep.
So this is it's very peculiar. I just wonder whether what is going on is that the people who are on this planet who are supposed to be implementing this new improved infrastructure for accounting and auditing for all of this stuff have actually fucked up, and so they're in trouble for having fucked
We're
up.
in a massive state of flux right now, and there's chaos involved in that. Every time you switch over systems on
there's an
institutional level like we're doing right now, there's bound to be all kinds of mess. And I think we're seeing a lot of that right now. And covers, like, the world is so fucking jacked on lies and bullshit that it's I don't see how they can even put the big book of truth on the table without absolutely breaking everything.
Yes, there are levels to things that I suspect now, though, like things I've got roaming around in my brain, especially over the last couple of months.
Well, that's the thing, they put out so much lies that when they do put out the truth, people won't believe it.
There's that.
And there is that. Absolutely. There is 100% that. Would you believe anything if Trump told it to you? No. Would you believe anything if Chucky told it to you?
Well, it depends on the manner of the delivery and what's the content of the statement. I would judge that when it's said to me, right? It doesn't matter whose lips it comes from. It doesn't matter what form it takes. I will judge that, big book of truth if that thing ever comes out.
The point is, what I was saying is that the big book of truth, will it ever come out? Because it's not just a collapse of their control structures, right?
I honestly feel like,
church, i.e. politics, i.e. finance, all of these things would shatter.
If they want and it's shattering anyway. It's all fucking shattering anyway. If they want a one world government to stick, they have to put some sort of truth out. It has to be based on some sort of thing that's like we say, if you want to perpetuate a lie, there has to be a big smattering of truth in there that people can fucking identify and realize, hey, you know what? That is a truth. That is something that I can understand. That is, I can feel on an intrinsic level. So whatever comes out of this, if it's fucking going to be something palatable, it has to have.
It has to have something. So then we got Trump saying, "Oh, I'm going to release the UFO files." Are you really? Before I go any farther on that, Jimmy, go ahead, love.
Yeah, and if you get a statement out of Keir Starmer, his line is, that he's lying as soon as he starts answering questions. So the inability to answer questions without getting straight to the point, he'll just deflect. That's why he's in so much trouble. He got through that vote in Parliament the other day.
Yeah.
Because he made
who said that he couldn't lie straight in a bed.
And of course, there's not a lot of press coverage at the moment, but the 3 rent boys are in the High Court at the moment.
I was going to say that's on right now, isn't it? Started yesterday.
The jury was sworn in this afternoon. The jury was sworn in this afternoon. But there's a guy on YouTube. I can't remember his name, but he's actually broadcasting up. He's doing updates, so he's reporting on what's being said in court because there's no mainstream coverage of it, obviously, because
no, that's
nothing
if
you see
you don't
here.
want
The only mention you get in the
Jane,
mainstream
why am I
is
not
that
surprised to hear that? Nobody wants Kier's dirty
Yeah.
fucking tidy whities hanging out.
Yeah.
the only thing you
there
get
is
in the
an
mainstream
election in a
about
week.
that is that they're getting charged and they're going on trial, and that's it.
But
Yeah.
also
There's no coverage of the trial, anything.
There's a Russian link as well, apparently, that's sort of like starting to filter its way into the whole thing. So it's going to be, Russia's going to get the blame. It's going to be Russia, blah blah blah.
Of course.
So
They set him up with those toy boys.
Exactly. I just blarg. Yeah, the aliens. The fact that Trump is now saying he's going to release all these UFO files, he's going to declassify them. You have to know that something exists before you can declassify it.
There's a subtext.
And we all know that the Trump don't know jack shit about what actually exists because no one in the American government actually knows what exists. There are those just top few people who know what's actually
Yeah, but
going
they're
on.
gonna start doing a fucking limited release of shit. And here's how it's gonna play out. Yep, we've got some aliens. Yep, we've got some tech. Nope, you're not allowed to see it. Yep, we have it and we're using it, and we're gonna continue to develop it. Nope, you're not allowed to have it.
Yeah, no, that actually pretty much sums it up exactly perfectly. That's
It'll be
exactly what they're going to
interesting
do.
to see how large a segment of the population at large is engaged with it, though.
Yes,
So how
it will
many
be.
people have reached the same conclusions that we have from the sources that are available to us from our own observations? So for us, we're just tracking it, right? We're not like emotionally engaged with it.
No.
I wonder how large a segment will be engaged with it. That'll tell us, give us some quite useful data.
It's a barometer. It's a barometer where you can kind of look at the overall.
They need magic to feed the upcoming AI monster that they're creating. All of the backup, the data, the fucking. They need magic for that. What do we mean by magic? Fucking high tech.
Technology.
Where is that fucking magic going to come from?
Advanced enough.
That's where they're fucking going to be applying this shit. It's not going to be for transport. It's not going to be for space travel. It's going to be feeding tech for right now.
Just also remember that the pieces that Dark Journalist has brought to this specific discussion, which is that Trump's actually quite directly attached via his uncle to the UFO files, and Tesla, like directly.
Yeah.
So there is those couple of pieces to remember in there that, you know, he's also dropped Uncle John a few times in his speeches.
We'll see. We'll see what. Look,
his extended family is quite verbally on record of their opinion of Donald, though.
For sure.
His mom.
So I'm not.
And
sure
also, all of these people are inbred with each other anyway.
Yes.
So
yes. Not
saying
even
such and such as a family, you know, they're all going to be related somehow. So.
Right. Well, my darlings, that is it for the UnFuckIt discussion for this evening. I'm going to say we'll see you next week out there in video land, and Unfuckers hang around, and we'll let Nick and Ben say all the shit that they're not allowed to say publicly.
Don't.